Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the European Outlook this Monday morning. It is Monday at GasWeathers.com, which means it's time for the European Outlook. Every Monday at GasWeathers we have a look at weather coming week across the country. It's going to be a really interesting week this week. A Spanish plume is going to be bringing some very hot temperatures from North Africa up across many parts of Europe. So we could be seeing some record-breaking heat actually for parts of Europe later on this week. It'll be a really hot week. Before we get on with that though, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages at GasWeathers.com. Have browser widgets. Any articles that you're interested in, please click through the article and read the article. Thanks so much for doing that. The website we're using for the Monday morning European Outlook coming from wetcentral.de. You can find the link to Wet Central on the links page. Let's get on with a lot to talk about. And we've got high pressure building in across northern and western parts of Europe. It's this area of high pressure that's going to allow the heat to push out of Spain and North Africa through the course of the week. Already pretty warm to the south of this high pressure across the southern parts of France, Spain and Portugal, and that heat will intensify later on in the week. It's relatively cool up to the north and the northeast. We can see better on the upper air temperatures that relatively cool upper air temperatures in the north and the northeast. But there's the heat building down across Spain and stretching down in towards North Africa. Really hot temperatures there, and that heat is pushing northwards through the course of the week. So the showers running in the north and the east for today. So it's down through Scandinavia, through eastern parts of Germany, over towards Poland, a little bit over the Alps, perhaps then down in towards the Balkans, and particularly stormy day for Greece. As we come out to the west, we're going to find things will be drier for the Low Countries, France, Spain and Portugal. Lots of dry weather there. Many parts of the UK will be dry, though there could be some patchy rain across parts of Ireland and western Scotland. Convective potential not showing a great deal, a little bit over the Pyrenees, but otherwise not much in the west of Europe, and about high pressure. Risk of thundery showers really going to be in the east and the northeast, and perhaps particularly stormy down across Greece. The temperatures today show that it's going to be relatively near normal through the central parts, so towards the low to mid-20s, really through Germany into Poland. Probably a little bit cooler than you would expect, actually, for Poland. And then near normal up towards the northeast. Temperatures somewhere in the low to mid-20s there. But you see the heat is really building down across southern parts of France, already up to 35. That's into mid-90s Fahrenheit, and can't really see it that well as we go down in towards Spain and Portugal. The temperatures there going above 40 Celsius, so 40 Celsius is around 105 Fahrenheit, central parts of Spain. Now as we move through into the middle of the week, that high pressure moves into Central Europe and the hot air pushes up across the west of Europe, around that area of high pressure, of course, to the east and the northeast, bringing down a northerly flow for the far northeast of Europe. But it's to the west of the ridge that heat really will be pumping up through the middle of the week. So look at these upper air temperatures, really hot across many parts of Spain, and that stretches through France, particularly hot through central and southern parts of France. And that heat is pushing eastwards and northwards, so some of it gets in towards particularly southern parts of the UK, but much of the UK will be very warm, but particularly hot down in the southeast, and then going eastwards through the Low Countries and into Germany. Again, relatively cool for northern eastern parts of Scandinavia and northeastern parts of Europe. The risk of showers will really be on the Europe-Russian border through the course of the middle part of the week. The storms across Greece will be easing. Otherwise, loads of dry weather. There is a few storms being indicated here, as you typically do find over the Alps and maybe a little bit around the Pyrenees. But to be honest, lots and lots of dry weather across the vast majority of Europe through the middle part of the week. Risk of some thunderstorms, though, for parts of the UK, particularly perhaps focused on northern England. Also some showers perhaps for Ireland and western parts of Scotland. Now this is showing high rates of convective potential through the middle part of the week across France, but because the area is really quite dry coming out of North Africa, we're probably not going to realise that convection convective potential away from the mountains anyway. Greater risk of storms through England with these red colours here, particularly for northern and southeast parts. I mean, there could be thunderstorms there. Otherwise, not really much in way of convection in the central, northern, eastern parts of Europe under that ridge of high pressure. Not a great deal through the Med either. So very, very hot through middle part of the week. Dangerously hot, really, for central parts of France. We're up to 38 degrees being indicated here. That is over 100 Fahrenheit through many central parts of France this week. You notice the heat has actually eased a little bit through central Spain. That's as the bubble of heat has pushed northwards into central France. So we could go a little bit higher than that. I wouldn't entirely rule out reaching 39, maybe even 40 somewhere in central France through the middle part of the week. So that's around, but it's over 100 Fahrenheit, possibly up to 105 Fahrenheit sometime through the end of the middle to the end of the week. Very warm into the UK. Temperatures will be hottest they've been through the course of this summer so far, so probably going up to 32 degrees at the very least in some southeast parts of the country on Wednesday. That's 90 Fahrenheit. And plenty of warmth going eastwards as well, with temperatures at least into the mid to upper 20s. But you see that the heat is really focused across France, Belgium, Holland, the Low Countries, and perhaps into western parts of Germany. Into the end of the week, and that high pressure is in across many central eastern parts of Europe. Again, the heat is on the western side of this ridge of high pressure. Will probably be pushing eastwards a little bit, but maybe reloading from the south. Let's have a look at the upper air temperatures. And you can see that again, the heat really is on through many parts of Spain, going into France, upwards in towards the Low Countries, eastern, or should I say western parts of Germany as well, looking really, really hot. Some of that hot air is getting into the UK, particularly into southern and southeastern parts of England, and some of it is even pushing north into Denmark and going northwards from that in southern parts of Scandinavia, the far north of Scandinavia, and go down into the east of Europe. It is generally somewhat cooler compared to the west. A risk of violent thunderstorms breaking out across some northern parts of France and into the UK at the end of the week, being triggered by the heat and the instability and cooler air trying to get in from the Atlantic. Some heavy rain for the north of Scandinavia, but otherwise, look at that, virtually away from the mountains of the Alps anyway, virtually universally dry from Portugal in the west to the Russian border in the east, virtually universally dry across many parts of Europe. Not very often you see that. So loads of convective potential here across the eastern parts of France, but according to the precipitation charts, anyway, we're not really realising that convective potential. I'm not sure about that. I would think by this point things could be really starting to wobble across France, and we could get some of those big thunderstorms being generated. Otherwise, thunderstorms around the North Sea and going into the UK, central eastern parts of Europe again, not a great deal going on with the convective potential. Look at the heat at the end of the week across France into Belgium, Holland. I think we'll see records broken for parts of the Low Countries, parts of Belgium, parts of Holland. We're going up to 100 Fahrenheit here. I'm sure that's got to be getting on for record breaking, if not record breaking. Very hot through western parts of Germany as well, and going down in towards France, really, really hot conditions there. The heat is still in across the UK, particularly for England and Wales, with temperatures up to 33 degrees, 92 Fahrenheit. May go a little bit higher than that, possibly up to 35. The east is comparatively cooler, but still very warm. The heat is spreading gradually into the east of Europe at the end of the week. And then finally going into next weekend, that hot ridge is in the east of Europe by that time. It's cooling down through the UK and through Scandinavia as well as the Atlantic air starts to push in. But it's still a pretty hot scene, I think, here across many parts of France and Central Europe. Let's have a look at the upper air temperatures. And you see that what's going on is that the heat is gradually being pushed out of the northwest of Europe. So Ireland and the UK is cooling down. Many northern and western parts of Scandinavia, particularly Norway and Sweden, cooling down as well. But at the same time, the heat is still stretching out through Spain and Portugal. Portugal's going through southern parts of France, and really impacting parts of Germany, Poland, and pushing eastwards, and maybe even northeastwards into some of these Baltic states, perhaps. Now, thunderstorms really kicking off over the Alps and southern parts of Germany by next weekend. Most of the storms that are across the UK on Friday and into Saturday. They'll be in some central parts of Europe by the end of next weekend. Showers up over Scandinavia, more persistent rain coming into Scotland and Ireland. Otherwise, the east of Europe will be dry, hot and sunny. Most of the Med will be dry, as will Spain and Portugal. Convective potential shows the risk of thunder and lightning pushing eastwards into some central parts of Europe at the end of the week. The heat is going east as well, so that bubble of heat is leaving the UK, France, the Low Countries, and it's pushing through Germany into Poland. I say maybe getting up some of those Baltic northeastern parts of Europe by next weekend. Temperatures for Poland again around 35, 36 degrees, getting on for 100 Fahrenheit by the time we get through to the weekend. Very warm through the Med, lots of hot sunshine there, and still really hot across Spain, Portugal as well. Turning cooler through the UK and Ireland, and beginning to cool down across particularly northern and western parts of France, but the heat still going across southern and eastern parts of France. So the heat's on this week. It really is going to be a very, very hot week, and particularly hot around France, where I think we could see some records broken. Also, the Low Countries getting some very, very hot temperatures through this week. And then, as we get through to the end of the week and into next weekend, the overall idea is for the heat to be shifting very, very gradually out of the north and west of Europe and pushing to more central and eastern parts of Europe. But it's going to be a very, very hot week, but it will be dangerously hot in some parts of the continent this week, so do take care. And, well, if you like it hot, enjoy it, but I'm sure these temperatures are a bit too much for most people, so the cool down will eventually start to arrive from the north and west by the time you get through to the weekend. That's it for now then. I hope you enjoy the week, have a great week, and that's all for now. Thanks for watching.